It's on. Hi, everybody. My name is Tova Vanderveen. I'm an executive regional vice president with Arbonne. I was actually born and raised in Seattle, Washington, but now I live in beautiful Kelowna, British Columbia, with my sexy husband Dave, and our two dog babies, Karma and Ruby. And when actually, I can't even believe, I don't think I've smiled as much since our wedding day. Like seriously, I'm so excited to be here. But when Arbonne actually called me to train on fear, I thought that this was the perfect topic for me to train on because it's a topic I hold really close to my heart. And most of you wouldn't know this about me meeting me today, but fear has actually held me back most of my life. I'm actually celebrating my 5 years with Arbonne, so I'm super excited about that. And in my 5 years of experience, I have come to find out that fear has been holding back most people from achieving all their dreams in their life. So I also want you to know that this moment, like right now, is actually a huge dream come true for me. I knew that from the first event that I came to, I wanted to be that girl up on stage, inspiring everyone, so that one day after, someone would come up to me and say to me, it was because of you that I felt the fear, and I did it anyway. And because, I had done that 5 years ago, and I will tell you that on this journey has completely changed my life and me for the better. So when I sat down to write this training, something happened that I did not expect. I felt fear, like a lot of it. I started to doubt myself, and I was wondering, oh my gosh, am I ready to do this? To speak in front of all you guys? And then something amazing happened. I was actually in Florida at the pool under an umbrella, and it was a cloudy day, and there was only a few of us out kind of basking in the humidity. And it was great. And when the song came on, a song that I believe was played just for me at that very moment. It was Bob Marley's Every Little Thing's Gonna Be All Right. You know the one? Yeah. So as the song began, a couple to my right started to sing quietly, and they were holding hands and looking at each other and smiling, and I looked over and smiled at them, and they smiled at me. And then almost on cue, the gentleman to my left started to sing. And I looked over at him, and he's smiling at me, and there I was in the middle of a Bob Marley sing-song sandwich, like scared to death. Now, I have to tell you, I have never sung in public before, like ever, okay? It is a huge fear of mine. But at that moment, full of fear, something came over me. I felt compelled to be part of it. And so I embraced it. And I put down my pen and paper, and I started to sing out loud. And as I began to sing the words, I truly began to believe what I was saying. And then the group behind us started singing. By mid-song, it was a full-blown concert on the pool deck. I had felt the fear, and I had done it anyway. And in doing so, it gave me and fueled my inspiration to write this training. It was glorious. It's glorious. So I want you to know something. You guys, fear does not go away. It doesn't. You just get better at managing it. So I want to ask you to take a moment to reflect on your life right now. 5 years ago, I was asked to do the exact same thing. Maybe some of you were just like me 5 years ago. Maybe you've worked really hard to get where you are today. Maybe you have a great career, you have a fancy title. Maybe you have sacrificed a great deal of time and money, maybe even some blood, sweat, and tears to get where you are financially. I get it. I can totally relate to that. Maybe you've invested so much into this life, into your career, that you have this sense of obligation to give it a go, right? No matter what, you feel like you have to, right? But maybe you feel like I did, and you feel like there's something missing. I had so many sleepless nights where I would literally lay awake wondering, is this it? Is this what success feels like? You know, I had a successful career. I had a career that usually somebody had to die for you to get in, right? It was one of those. I made good money. Some people even thought I had a dream job. But I secretly felt lost. I felt almost trapped in this life that I had almost perfectly planned for myself. I was trading all of my time for money, and it was slowly killing me. I was afraid to admit to myself, let alone to everyone else, that my life wasn't exactly what I wanted it to be like or even feel like. It's not what I expected, right? I remember thinking, if this is success, you know, somebody else can have it. I secretly longed for something better. I was literally fitting my family into the nooks and crannies of my life. And they were getting the rest of me, not the best of me. And I remember sitting there thinking, well, what now? You know, do I admit that I'm not happy or that something was missing? What would that mean? How many of you know what it feels like to have somebody say to you, how are you doing? And you're like, I'm fine. I'm fine. You guys, I had mastered this because my fear had a hold of me. And I thought that if I came clean, what would others think? They would have known that I'd been faking it all along, right? And it was at that moment that I realized that my fear had been keeping me playing it safe for far too long. How many of you have spent time trying to make everybody else, maybe even yourself, believe that your life is perfect, just the way you planned it, or maybe winged it for some of you? It's literally exhausting. I want you to know something. What you need to do is completely out yourself. Just come out, say it. You know, trust me, what's going to happen? It is the most freeing feeling. And trust me, something amazing will happen. You will inspire others to do the same. We have got to face our fears. Some of you have put the bar of expectations literally on the floor, and you have settled to just step over it, right? I truly believe that each of us were born for greatness, and you know, some of us find it, but others allow fear to hold us back from ever becoming truly great. Okay, so I have a question. Who here has a JOB, just over broke? Raise your hand. Yeah? Okay. So I have a question for you guys. Think about the person who has had your job 5, maybe 10 years longer than you have. Do you have a visual? Do you want their life? Let me save you some time here. You guys, it doesn't get any better. You just get older. There I was at my crossroads, wishing and I was hoping to have this more time and freedom to truly live. I was literally somedaying my life away. Oh, someday I'll save up enough money. Someday I'll have the time. You know the feeling? And then my opportunity for greatness crossed my path. It was October of 2007 when I met Executive Regional Vice President Diana Gilbert through the welcome wagon. We had just settled in our home beyond hope. Coincidence? I think not. And she was the one who threw me my life preserver and introduced me to Arbonne. Have you ever met someone who truly saw you, free of any flaws, that saw you in your best light? I believe this is how she saw me. She could see that I was missing something, and she knew what the gift of this business could bring for me and my family. You know, she didn't know all my fears. All that she knew was what was possible, and she asked me to take a look at this business. And of course, I said no, right? I didn't just say no. Like, I said no for 7 months, no. There was my fear again. She was pleasantly persistent, and I am forever grateful to her for that. It must have taken great courage on her part. So now I know that I was letting all of my fears control my life. I was sitting around waiting for this fear to subside, waiting for that right time or that right feeling. Because I had been taught from a very early age that if it doesn't feel right, something's wrong. But here's another tip, you guys. It's never the perfect time. And if you're not careful, life will happen while you're waiting. The reality was that I had settled for safe. I want to encourage you not to let your fears become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You guys, your mind is such a powerful thing. You have to be careful what you tell yourself, what you can and can't do, what you should and shouldn't feel, how great you can really be. So, there I was, 7 months, life and business as usual. I was on that virtual hamster wheel that we hear about when I had my aha moment. I was actually playing a board game. It was called Would You Rather, when I pulled out a card and I read it aloud, and it said, would you rather go through life being mediocre, or know that you are bound for greatness, but you would never achieve it? That was a huge wake-up call. Because I remember thinking, I didn't want either option. And it was at that moment I decided that I had to be open to something new. And then, like clockwork, came that call from Diana, inviting me to an event very similar to this. Now, you have to remember, she had been reaching out to me and inviting me to events, for 7 months, right? And I had been saying, oh no, I'm fine, to her. But this time, it was different. I think I was different. I could see now that I was living this life cast by an illusion of my fear. So here's my big tip, you guys. You're gonna want to write this down. Fear has been giving you bad advice for years. I want to give you permission to say yes. You guys, you deserve it. And if nobody else has told you today, you're worth it. So it was April of 2008 when I felt the fear, and I did it anyway. Because I realized that I could either have the fear of not starting this business, or the fear of, or I should say the fear of starting this business, or the fear of not starting it, and my life looking exactly the same in 5 to 7 years, 10 years. And to me, that was scarier. Now, I have to admit, I just said yes. I not only said yes to Diane, finally, I said yes to Arbonne, and I said yes to me. Now, I have to admit, I was not the most likely person to do something like this, because I lived in the middle of nowhere, beyond hope, if you'll recall, in a small village with like less than 70 full-time residents. There was no cell signal, no internet. I worked crazy hours in a male-dominated industry, and I only knew one gal in this entire country, and she was already doing Arbonne. Fear? Yeah, I had it. And, you know, but the one thing I did have was a desire. I didn't just have a desire, you guys. I had a burning desire to take my life from good to great. Do you have that inside of you? Let me help you set it free tonight. I have been told that the only thing in life that is constant is change. And in order to get something that you don't have, you have to be willing to do something you've never done. You know, sure, you could think, oh, what if this doesn't work? You know, I'm not good enough. You know, but what I'm asking of you is just, you need to have a shift, almost a shift in your thought process. And I want you to think, but what if it does? And I want you to stay there. You know, you might be worried, oh, what are other people going to think? That's normal. I get it, right? A lot of people think that. But here's a tip. People don't think about you as much as you think they do. You're not that big a deal, right? Because unless they are responsible for paying your bills or making all your dreams come true, you shouldn't care what they think about you anyway. So after I started my business, every single time someone said no to me, or, oh, that's not going to work, it was literally like throwing a piece of firewood onto my desire fire. I was literally determined to prove them wrong. You guys, don't let the fear get the best of you. It's a choice that you can make. You just simply have to decide. If fear could be learned, I was determined to unlearn it. And now I had this army of others that were there to support me on this journey. Do you know what that feels like? In case you haven't noticed, it feels amazing. Arbonne is not filled with a bunch of people who don't have something better to do. You guys, we are filled with people of excellence, courage, determination, and absolute greatness. It's like this energy force field that's there to support you and be there when you're challenged by your own personal fear. Now, I have to admit, when I made the choice to start my Arbonne business and become successful, and yes, it was a choice, I was not looking for easy. I was simply looking for possible. And when Executive National Vice President Goltaj Samani shared that she had felt her fear and did it anyway, and went on to achieve her Mercedes-Benz in 7 months, I remember hearing that and I thought, yeah, that sounds good, I'll do that. And guess what? I did. You guys, this is not brain surgery. Nobody dies in Arbonne. So what was I afraid of? They had literally showed me the system, and all I had to do was, 1, be coachable, and 2, I had to do it. I knew that if I wanted to make this dream that I had a reality, I had to learn to harness my fear, and I could not question the system. Why would I? It'd been proven that if you work, it works. I quickly learned that if you were the one who tried to question it or try to reinvent the wheel, it was just going to take you longer. I also learned that the successful ones didn't have a lack of fear. But what they had, they expected it almost, and they had developed a skill to master it. So I have to say, I really want to thank my incredible upline leaders, Executive National Vice President Goltar Samani and National Vice President Lenka Stoller. I am so grateful for their coaching and their leadership, because they helped me walk through my fears and watched as I stepped into greatness. I know now that that feeling that you feel, that's your body telling you that something amazing is about to happen. Without that feeling, you're not truly growing. You're not stretching. You're not pushing your limits. And it's these moments of fear in your life, these moments should be moments looked at as moments of opportunity, because every opportunity for growth comes with fear. These moments of fear, of course, can be a blessing, and at the same time, they can be a curse. It can save a life, and in others, it can prevent them from truly living full lives. Are you afraid to share this gift for the fear of hearing the word no? You guys, it's just an answer to a question. Because if you don't ask them, you are choosing for them, and how dare you? You guys, if you had the cure for cancer, would you keep it a secret? No, of course you wouldn't. That is literally how I feel about this business. Because I believe it is the cure for pushing past our fears in our life and allowing us to truly live. Are you afraid of failure? Because that's a big one for a lot of people. Some people have literally spent their entire lives avoiding failure. And some people have envisioned their life like this. So they envision success here. There's you. And then there's failure. So you're in the middle, you've got success on one hand and failure on the other. And then on your journey, you get to the sign marked failure, and you think, I've gone the wrong way. Success must be in the other direction. So you turn around and start heading the other way. But what you don't realize is that it actually looks like this. Here's you, here's failure, and then there's success. Failure is part of the process. It is what happens as you're growing. It is literally the stepping stone to getting exactly what you want in life. And as long as you recognize this and you teach yourself to fail forward and learn, you guys, you're so much further along than you think you are. Simply take note, adjust, and repeat. Because practice makes perfect in this business. It gets easier as you get better. Now, for some of you, this process may take some time. And you have to be willing to give it enough time. Because quick and easy is not necessarily the road to excellence. I worked very hard. Some people thought, oh, she must just be lucky. You know, here's the funny thing about luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get. It has nothing to do with luck. You know, some of you will be just like me. You will jump headfirst into failure and realize that the quicker you face your fears and embrace failure for what it is, success is only a matter of time. And when I understood that the only way to truly fail in Arbonne was to quit, I just took it off the table. I decided not to quit. It was a choice. So what would you do today if you knew that you could not fail? You guys, go out and do it. Just go do it. I love the saying, everything will be good in the end, and if it's not good, it's not the end yet. You guys, on your path to greatness, fear is going to pop up. You must expect it. You have to embrace it on your journey to reach your success. Your journey is just waiting to start. So what are you waiting for? So I want to ask you to take one more moment and reflect on how you feel right now. Do you feel it? That fear? Is it still there? I hope after our little time together, you now realize that this feeling is a moment to embrace. I hope you can recognize that this is me telling you that something amazing is about to happen. So if I bring you back to my experience with fear while singing Bob Marley song, this is exactly what you're going to experience on your Arbonne journey. You are going to be faced with feeling of fear. You're going to look around and you're going to see others that are going to be there to support you as they softly remind you that every little thing is going to be all right. Then, as your desire becomes greater than your fear, you will feel compelled to embrace the moment and step through fear and do it anyway. And on the other side will be your greatness. Remembering that courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to feel the fear and do it anyway. You guys, the rest of your life is undetermined. I want you to decide today to say yes, because the best is yet to come. Thank you.